Hey, this is Lance Snow with Get Out Together. Yeah, each week I bring you guests. They're going to talk about stories and resources and ideas to help inspire you to get outside and get active with that special someone in your life. And today, my special guest from S'more Outdoor Soap Doc Mountain Man Soap is Brett Traudt, and he's coming to me from California. I'm in Pennsylvania. I love the fact that the technology allows us to have this face-to-face time. Welcome, Brett. Appreciate you taking the time to talk with me today.
Thanks so much, Lance. I appreciate you contacting me and asking for this interview. It's an honor, and definitely my pleasure to speak about what I do, which is in the outdoor field, along with you. So it's amazing.
Great. Well, thank you. I'm honored that you came on. And just looking at some of your businesses and the things you've got going on, I mean, it was just you're a perfect guest for the show. I mean, like I said, we're talking about getting out and being active, and everything you do, even the soap you make is outdoorsy. So we'll talk a little bit more about that in a few minutes. But so I just to tee everything up, I just wanted to ask you a little bit about your bio. I mean, I was on your website. I know you have a passion for camping and the outdoors, and you're married. So I just, if you could give the high overview of who Brett is and what you're into.
Oh, definitely. When I was younger, my parents, I think I was 6 years old, my parents had moved from the city to Ojai. We lived in Oxnard at the time. We moved to Ojai, and they had bought 4 acres of land. And they grew up on land when they were young, and so they wanted to provide that for us. And so as a child, just having the opportunity not to have a small backyard, but to have huge property that we could go out and go play on, and the place that we lived on, it was out of the city limits, and so there was plenty of exploring to do. And as we grew older, my parents, we had met a family in Ojai that invited us to go water skiing to Lake Shasta, which is in Northern California. And that was our first experience. We stayed on a houseboat, so we didn't camp, but that was the first experience that we started going on vacations to the lakes. The following summer, we actually went on a week-long camping trip to Lake Powell. So we packed all our gear in the boats. My dad had just recently bought a boat that summer. Packed all the gear and headed up about an hour and a half on Lake Powell and camped for the week. And we did that 2 times this summer. The beginning of summer, we went to Lake Shasta. At the end of summer, we went to, sorry about the noise in the background. There's probably cars driving. Yeah. We went to Lake Powell, and then we started spring break going to Lake Mead. And so all of those trips, we would go just week-long camping trips. And it was a blast. We had so much fun doing it. And I think that lasted probably about 10 to 12 years that we started doing that. As my brothers and I and my younger sister, we went to college, and my dad had opened up a pawn shop in Santa Barbara, and that took a lot of our vacation time away. So we didn't go as much on these vacations to the lakes. Still have the boat, though. He never sold that, sold the motorhome and a lot of stuff. But then after that, after college, I had moved back home to help my dad with the pawn shop, and met some buddies back in Ojai, and they took me in college. Well, let me backtrack a little bit. In college, I was one of those people. I loved exploring. I always wanted to get away from Ojai. You always do. Growing up, you want to get away from the place that you grew up. You don't realize how special it is until you move back. But in college, I had looked into the opportunity of going to Europe and Australia just to go study abroad, because I wanted to, like everybody else, I wanted to explore the world and see more of the world. But when I moved back home, a buddy of mine that I had met, he had invited me to go hiking up in the mountains above Ojai. And when we got there, I couldn't believe the experience and what was right in my backyard. I had seen the mountains from home, obviously, but I had never been hiking up there, and it just opened up a whole new world. And I realized, I don't need to go explore the world. I need to explore the world around where I grew up. And so we started doing that more. We ended up buying some backpacks and some sleeping bags, and we would go up during the summer. Almost every weekend, we would go up to the mountains or go camping, take our dogs up there. And looking back on it now, when, after going through the Free Agent Academy and realizing, what was it that I liked about the camping aspect of it and getting outdoors so much. Not only was it in my nature, but I realized that when I'm working 6 days a week at the pawn shop, and with the emotional drain that was happening there, that the outdoors was what helped me rejuvenate. It helped revitalize me for the coming week. And so after I left the pawn shop, I had moved over to Bakersfield and decided that I needed to grow up and get a job and do all that kind of stuff, be responsible, as they say.
That always gets in the way, doesn't it?
Absolutely. And so when I moved over here, the corporate life just kind of took a toll on me, and I didn't go camping as much as I should. Well, I didn't go camping at all for the first 5 years while I was over here in Bakersfield, and which kind of blew me away, because I was like, that's something that I always loved to do. And I eventually met my wife, and we sold her a phone. I worked for a cell phone company. We sold her a phone, and we got to talking to her about just different things, and she had said that she was going to be going river rafting up in Kern Canyon.
Nice.
And I was like, oh, cool. So we started talking about that. And then a few years later, and I still hadn't done much camping. Once a year, actually, on Memorial weekend, my brother and some friends, we would go up to Northern California with a company called Whitewater Adventures, and we would go on river rafting and camp for 2 nights up there. And so that was really our only camping experience with a bunch of people. But my wife and I started, once we started hanging out, we ended up going with my brother to Sequoia National Park. And I had never been there. And we didn't go up actually to the main part of the park, which was up where the pine trees are. We're still down in the lower aspects of Sequoia National Park. But we had gone camping there, and it was our first camping experience together. And we really enjoyed it. Got to see, we did drive up to General Sherman, which is the largest tree by volume in the world, so that was kind of cool. And that was kind of about it. We ended up, there was one other time we did go camping. We went to, I think it was in November. We went to Death Valley. We didn't want to go to Death Valley in the summer because it gets really hot. So it's still about 90 degrees in Death Valley during November.
Wow.
So we had done a couple of those camping trips, really enjoyed the time together, and decided that was one of the things that we wanted to do on our honeymoon as well. And so we had gone up to Canada, San Francisco, and then after we came back from Canada, we had driven up. I wanted to take her to one of my favorite places to go camping, which was the Redwood National Park up in Northern California, and took her to a place called Prairie Creek Redwoods and camped there for 4 days. And it was beautiful up there. And so we always enjoyed that. And then after we got back, we kind of really focused on getting out of debt. We paid cash for our wedding, we paid cash for the trip, so we were working on getting out of debt, and we put off camping for a couple years, and ended up, after we got our emergency fund funded, we decided, we wanted to go camping again, and went and camped for 3 days up in Sequoia National Park. And from there, that's where S'more Outdoor was born.
Ah, great. Well, awesome. You touched on a couple things now. Now, first of all these awesome locations you're naming, I'm going to actually run to a map as soon as we're done here and make sure I can put them all together, because I've never been to any of those national parks that you mentioned, and I'm just fascinated by them, and I definitely have to make a trip out there. But you touched on a few things. One of the things was you realized in your youth that a special part of growing up was getting out and being active and camping, and you had all these great experiences, and you were able to actually take some of those experiences and share them with your wife. And I think and you mentioned that, having the job kind of not eliminated, but greatly reduced the amount of time that you actually spent camping and going out and doing those kind of things. And I think that's true for a lot of people. And a lot of people let themselves forget. And I've done it too, and that's one of the reasons I have Get Out Together. Is because I forgot for a while that I love that kind of activity. You're right. It's rejuvenating. It's I get a special energy when I'm outdoors and seeing just beautiful scenery. So I love the fact you brought that up, because I think so many people, and probably so many people watching, are actually in that, having that experience too. So S'more Outdoor is born. So with S'more Outdoor, can you kind of frame up the S'more Outdoor experience and some of how you do it, how it kind of ties into what you're doing now?
Yes, absolutely. The S'more Outdoor, when I said that it was born from our trip up in the Sequoias, I was out there just kind of trying to discover what it is that I wanted to do with our life together. And I thought, what's something that my wife and I can do together that we both enjoy doing, that utilizes her passion. She's a massage therapist, and she loves giving people massages and help relieving the stress that way. And I love taking people outdoors. I love sharing people the outdoors. I used to do that a lot with friends that I'd meet back home in Ojai, and I wanted to take them to new places, and I loved seeing the expression on their face and seeing how they changed. Something was changing about them from being outdoors. And so what S'more Outdoor is my wife and I, taking our two passions, really serving people to help them get outdoors more, to help them reduce stress in their life. And so what we do with that, and which is a constantly evolving, but what we had started originally was to take people outdoors and provide everything for them. So we have all the gear, we buy all the food, we do all the dirty work, as I say. We make sure that if you don't have the gear, for people that want to experience camping, or somebody who, for example, like you living in Pennsylvania, wants to come out here and experience the national parks, Yosemite, Sequoia, the Redwoods, you wouldn't have to bring all your gear to do that. You wouldn't have to spend money, rent a hotel room, and wanted a camping experience, we would do that for you. And so we buy the park passes, we get out there a day before and set everything up for you. So when you arrive, you can do whatever you want to. Some of our guests in the past, they would bring their bikes to Yosemite, and they would, when they got there, they would eat their vegetable whatever we would have for them, and hop on their bikes and go for a bike ride for 3 hours or so, and come back. When they were done, they said good goodbyes and would leave, and then we'd break down camp. So it was so easy for them just to come out and get that full experience. They didn't have to burn their first and last days there. They didn't have to spend the 3 hours that it took, preparing everything or breaking everything down. And that's what we do.
Yeah, I love it. I just love the concept, because, having been an avid camper, I hated breaking camp. The worst thing in the world for me was I hated rolling the tent. I never can get my tent back in the bag, and you got to get on your hands and knees and get all dirty. And even if you can clean it all you want, it's still, you're gonna get pine needles and dirt on it and bugs. Hey, I love getting my hands dirty, but I just don't like breaking camp. And I think it's partly it's I don't want to leave. It's the emotional aspect of not wanting to leave. But I love the concept, because, frankly, for us if we were to pull off a camping trip in Yosemite, my wife and I would have to pack up our van or even the car with the trunk full of stuff and haul it cross country. Yeah, that's what, 24-hour drive or something like that. It's insane. So I love the concept there. If someone's not from that area, they can use you to help set it up. But also, those who are from that area, why, like you said, why spend the extra 3 hours, 2 hours, even an hour to set up when someone can do it? Someone that's just even local there could utilize the service and benefit from it.
Absolutely. Well, and a lot of people too, the people that we've been taking, which mainly have been acquaintances, they don't have the gear to be able to do that. They don't have the experience that I do
Yeah.
to go camping. Now obviously setting up and taking down a bunch of campsites is a lot of work.
Yeah.
Not something that anybody enjoys, but for me, a few days after, I feel the work, I feel a little sore, but for me, it's all about the experience that the people have.
Yeah.
One time, one of my buddies that had gone with us went with his dad one time to Yosemite, and just the connection that they were able to make together was huge. They have a really good relationship, but it was just neat to be able to see them experience that together. And the other time, he had brought his girlfriend with him, and the experience that they had, and she had never been camping before. And so to me, just taking people out camping and allowing them to enjoy time together, which is your message and mine too. I love the fact that these people can connect together and enjoy the experience together, because it's something that they'll never forget. And it's something that I'll never forget either, because each experience for us is new.
You're so true. And it really is about connecting through the experience. And that's what's so special about your business and your model. That's awesome. So, so tell me about the parks. So it's Sequoia and Yosemite are the two parks that you...
Yes, those are the closest ones to us. Yosemite's about a 3-hour drive from Bakersfield. Sequoia is about 2.5, depending on where you're going. We can go to Sequoia is a little bit quicker, but the road is nice and curvy. So we usually go a little bit longer around Fresno, which is a couple hours north of us, and go up the mountainside. It doesn't get people as sick, and it's easier for people flying into Fresno and either go to Yosemite or go to Sequoia as well. And we usually the campsites that we choose are anywhere between 6,000 feet to 8,000 feet. So it's nice and cool, especially during the summer, getting up there. And good spots too. Right next to the river is where we try and get our spots as well.
Nice.
Yeah.
So what's the just curiosity? What's the time frame month-wise? Like, how many months out of the year are you able to do this for? And is there a bad time?
We typically May through October. So the very beginning of October. Typically, the parks release. The way that the National Park Service works is that they release camping sites 4 months ahead of time, because there's a lot of people that want to get in there and go camping, especially in Yosemite Valley. It's really tough to get in the valley. But 4 months out it's starting in January is when we can reserve the spots for May. But typically I would love to get it to the point where we can do one in Yosemite and one in Sequoia each month throughout the year. Unfortunately, my job doesn't allow me that much time off to be able to do that. But that's what I would like to do. I definitely have goals for later on when we do start having kids and we're not able to go out and set up and take down all the time. Mm-hmm. But I definitely have a vision for where we want to go with it.
Great, that's awesome.
Yeah.
Are you able to share any of that vision, or is it still a work in progress?
It's a work in progress. But yeah, I can definitely. My ultimate vision for S'more Outdoor is for my wife and I. We both want to own land, just because that's what I grew up on, mm-hmm. and she definitely likes the solitude up there. But we want to have a place where people can come, where couples can come, or families can come, and they can connect in an environment where the same type of thing, where we provide everything. But everything's already set up, just constantly set up to where we're not having to do the setup and breakdown. Depending on where we go with it, maybe I do hire someone to take care of all of that later on, mm-hmm. In the parks and stuff. But we definitely want to own land near a national park, so that's an option. My vision too is maybe corporate retreats. For people to experience that type of stuff. So I don't know definitely, I don't have a definite answer to where it's going to go, but those are what I would like it to turn out to. I would like to be able to have some more outdoor across the country, doing different camps where people own their own businesses and utilize, our brands as what people get, to help people get outdoors more.
I love it. I love it. I had to put you on the spot. I mean,
no, that's okay.
It's great. I mean, if you had it packaged up there, and it sounds like you do, it's wonderful. So, so you're doing a couple other things. That kind of, the way I see it is you're kind of taking this love for the outdoors and this passion you have for the outdoors, and you're actually creating some products for it. You're actually bringing like the outdoors into a brand, into a couple of products. And just wanted to give you an opportunity to talk briefly about Soap Doc, which I have one, and it's awesome, and Mountain Man Soap, which I need to order some. So go ahead and tell us a little bit about both of those.
Yeah, it's I've been, as an outdoor enthusiast, about 15, now it's probably about 17 years ago, I had gotten into the natural side of life and wanted to learn how to make different things. And had come across a book that talked about making soap, and I just thought that was really cool. And so I got into making soap and have been doing that for quite a long time. I had gone to Renaissance festivals when I was younger and sold some, and then as I said earlier, I ended up getting a corporate job and kind of set that by the wayside. But I'd always wanted to get my soap online and to be able to have a great brand for it, and it had just taken me a long time, and I loved making it. I make it for the Free Agent Academy whenever they have events, and Kevin's been a really huge advocate for me, and they didn't want, part of the coaching that I had received was they didn't really want me to get away from the more outdoor aspects of what I was trying to create, but I always kept coming back to soap because it's something I enjoyed doing. I love, the fact that people can use a product that I make and it's good for them as well. And so one day I was walking out to my car from work and I was like, Mountain Man Soap. I said, that's it. So I shot off an email to Dave Munson, and he was just like, yeah, he's like, that's an awesome name. And so we branded that, and he helped me come up with the tagline, and so my focus on the Mountain Man Soap was to help bring the outdoors, to help bring the aspects of the outdoors to your shower, to your bath. And so I'm creating the products that I've created have to do with, one of them's a campfire scent, one of them's a cedar scent, one of them is the latest one that I've revamped is my Gold Rush bar, and that one is a dirt scented soap, and it has to do out of every batch, which I make 27 at a time, there's going to be a real gold nugget in there.
Nice. That's
and
awesome.
So somebody will get a real gold nugget in
cool.
in bar. So that was just something. And once I had gotten that, everybody was just like, and especially Kevin, he was telling me about it, and he says, it's perfect for what it's who you are. And through the soap process too, last year I'd come up with the idea for the Soap Doc. Taking a shower at my parents' house, and my mom had a soap sitting on a sponge, and I was just like, wow, after all these years making soap and all the gunk that got on my shower soap holder around the sink, or even in the soap dish, just from the water sitting in, I was like, oh, that's awesome. Could I go ahead and create a product out of a sponge that is designed specifically for use with my soap and any other soap out there? And so that's where the Soap Doc came from.
I love it.
So they're all tied together.
Yeah, it is tied together. I hate cleaning that soap gunk off too. That's why I had to get one of those things. Boy, it's so hard. You scrub all you want, it just doesn't come up. You get your nails in there sometimes. So when you refer to Kevin, you're talking about Kevin Miller of Free Agent Academy.
Correct.
And then Dave Munson of
Saddleback Leather.
Yeah,
correct.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
So with both those products, obviously I'll link up in the show notes. Send some links so folks can check out both products, both websites, as well as More Outdoor. I'll provide those links too. So I want to just kind of start to wrap things up here. So from your perspective, you gave me some good nuggets when you talked about your bio and meeting your wife, and then why you created your products, your outdoor, your more outdoor. What would be some advice to some folks who are, they're sort of in the same situation as you or I. I mean, they know they love getting out, but for whatever reason, it's kind of being backburnered. What would you tell them, and what would you tell them about connecting with either a spouse or a significant other?
Just to do it, to get out there and do it. It's hard when even I have challenges, and my wife and I have challenges with getting out on the weekends and getting out to the mountains due to our work schedule currently. But just to schedule it. I was talking to my wife the other day. It's like, I'd really like to be able to go once a month, just to go on an overnight camping trip, because I know how important it is. I wrote a blog post a couple months back, just that I realized that I haven't been listening to my own advice about getting outdoors. But there's so much benefit to being out there. There's physical benefit for being out there. There's emotional benefit for being out there. But the biggest for me is the spiritual benefit. Just, we live in a society that we're always online. And what I like to refer to is we live in an electrical paradise. And we don't get out as much as we need to. And we're not designed to always be online. We're not designed to always be, to waste our time in front of a TV or in front of the internet. We're designed to go out and enjoy nature. We're designed to go out and connect with family and friends. We're designed to go out and just kind of think through things, and my goal is to encourage people to get outdoors, as well as, I know yours is to, just for the benefit of being out there.
Yep. Yeah, you're absolutely right. We were built to run and move. We're built to think, but we're also social beings. We have to connect. I mean, that's so important. So yeah, great advice. And what I kind of learned and some things I picked up from our conversation is, a couple things that I'm going to take away, and I'll probably have some blog about it, because it really kind of struck a chord. I made some notes. Number one was what I brought up earlier about what I picked out was remembering what you enjoyed. So remember what you enjoyed. I mean, that'd be one of the things I've learned was, if you liked to do camping in the past, you may still like to do camping now, or it may be different. You might like to go stay at a lodge or a lean-to or whatever it is. So just remember what you enjoy and allow yourself to enjoy it. And the other one is explore your world. Like you said, you realized in your own backyard you had places to explore. I think a lot of people forget that just about anywhere in this country, or even around the world, frankly, they can just, probably within a decent drive or train ride, they can find themselves in a paradise, or some place that they can explore. So yeah, explore your world. I kind of picked that out as well. Brett, this is great. I really appreciate you coming on, and like I said, I'll link up some more Outdoor Soap Doc and Mount Man Soap to the website. And thank you for coming on, and appreciated you being here.
Well, definitely. Thank you for having me on. One of the things that I do want to just kind of touch on that I notice whenever I go to the national parks, and you talk about exploring the world, is so many people want to go and travel the world, which is an awesome goal to have. And so many people in the other parts of the world are actually doing that. And there's more visitors to Yosemite, the Sequoias, our national parks in the United States, from Europeans, from people who live in other parts of the world. They come and enjoy our parks more than we are enjoying our parks. And
I believe that.
Kind of blows me away.
Yeah, I believe that. I follow a bunch of travelers, world travelers on Twitter, and I see them, the places you would expect, Asia, Europe, the architecture of old Europe, the Caribbean islands, everywhere. But I also see them a lot of times in the United States, and I'm thinking, that's not that far away from me. I mean, they're touring Washington, D.C., they're going through state parks, they're at Disney, saw a guy from Australia at Disney, but also I see them in the big national parks too, and you're absolutely right. We've got all of this here too, so Let's not forget about it.
Well, and people really need to, and we just went over some things on the message to get outdoors, and what people need to know is to take advantage of our national parks. They're incredible.
Yeah.
Not only getting outdoors, but just go to the national parks because they're beautiful.
Yeah, they're treasures. They really are national treasures. That's why they're a national park, and you're absolutely right. So great. Well, hey, Brett, thank you so much. I appreciate it. And that'll wrap it up for this interview.
Awesome.
Get out together. Again, I'm Lance Snow, and I will talk with you soon. Thanks.
Thanks, Lance.